Welcome to our guide for setting up Google Apps for your small business. This presentation will be most helpful to you if you have already registered for Google Apps and have had the opportunity to explore your control panel. But don't worry if you haven't registered quite yet. Hopefully, you'll find this overview of the Google Apps setup process useful as well, and you can register for your free trial anytime by visiting google.com/a. We'll discuss setup in two portions. First, we'll go over the basic steps required to get set up on Google Apps. This includes initial required steps, configuring email delivery, and accessing your services. Next, we'll dive into the slightly more advanced topic of data migration. This may not be mandatory for you, but I want to make sure to touch on some of the key points in case you're interested in moving data. The Google Apps Suite includes lots of services to help your business communicate and collaborate quickly and easily. The core suite is made up of our messaging apps, including Gmail, Calendar, and Talk, and our collaboration apps, which include Docs, Sites, Groups, and Video. Today, we'll be focusing on email setup. We'll go in depth with some basic as well as custom email configurations. If you haven't already, the first thing you should do is visit google.com/a and register for a free 1-month trial. We don't require any credit card information to get started, so there's no risk in beginning your account today. Make sure to sign up with the domain you primarily use email with. It'll save you some work when you're ready to commit to Google Apps, since you won't need to duplicate your earlier efforts, and creating an account won't affect your website or existing email system. What you see on the left here is a screenshot taken from the setup wizard in your Google Apps control panel. This will be your go-to guide during the setup process and will reference different sections as we progress. Now, let's take a closer look at that setup wizard and talk about our initial required setup steps. When you first log into your control panel, you'll be taken directly to the setup wizard. The wizard will guide you through all the steps required to get Google Apps up and running for your business, so you can be sure you haven't missed anything. If you navigate away to complete some of the required steps, you can always return to the wizard by clicking on the Setup tab in your control panel. The first step you need to take is to verify that you own your domain. To verify, we recommend creating a TXT record in your domain's DNS settings. Don't worry, this won't affect your website or your current email system. Once you've verified ownership, you'll also be able to make full use of all services except email, and we'll learn how to set up email later. Finally, your DNS can take up to 24 hours to update. Let's take a look at the actual process of verifying domain ownership. First, click on the Activate Google Apps button in the dashboard of your control panel. Then, click on Alternate Methods. Select Add a DNS record to your domain's configuration, and then select your domain registrar from the drop-down list. My domain is hosted with GoDaddy, so that's where I'll need to make my DNS changes. Your domain host may be different, and their interface may look slightly different. The verification instructions in your Google Apps control panel will provide you with specific instructions for your domain host. In a separate browser tab or window, log into your domain host. Follow the instructions from your control panel to create a TXT record in your DNS settings. For GoDaddy, I need to log into my account and access the zone file editor. Again, this may be different depending on your domain host. This is my zone file editor, where I can make changes to my DNS. Down here in the TXT section, we're going to want to insert an @ symbol into the host field. In the TXT value field, copy and paste your unique security token from your control panel. Leave the TTL field at the default value, and then click Save Zone File. Now, the TXT record has been posted to your DNS. Return to your control panel and click Verify. From here, the verification may take between 1 and 24 hours. Next, let's take a look at how to create users, groups, and any other email addresses you might need. User management tasks can be done from the Organization and Users tab of your control panel. You'll want to add a user account for each person at your company who will need a discrete inbox. A user account costs $50 per user per year, or $5 per user per month, depending on which payment plan you prefer. You can also create nicknames, which are alternate email addresses your users can send and receive from. Groups are also like nicknames, except that they can distribute to multiple users. Both nicknames and groups can be created with no additional charge. Now, let's discuss setting up email delivery. It's important to have a plan for this step to ensure a smooth transition to Google Apps, so let's take a look at some of the important details. When someone sends an email to someone within your company, it follows a delivery path that probably looks a lot like this chart. First, the incoming message checks the MX records of your domain. MX records are another type of DNS, and these records tell incoming mail which server they should deliver to. From there, your mail system, whether it's a webmail service, Microsoft Exchange server, or something else, places the message in the correct mailbox. Right now, your MX records point to your existing server and might be something like mail.yourdomain.com. To start receiving mail in Google Apps, you'll need to change your mail flow by logging into your DNS settings and changing your MX records. Once you've done that, all mail will be delivered to your Google Apps mailboxes instead of your existing system. Let's take a look at how to change email delivery. First, click on the Activate Email link from the dashboard of your control panel. There will be another drop-down menu to select your domain host with specific instructions for their DNS interface. Here, you'll see a list of the MX servers you need to insert into your DNS to start receiving email at Google Apps. This time, we want to find the section in our DNS editor titled MX, or Mail Exchanger. Again, we'll be depicting this process for GoDaddy, but your domain host's interface may look and function differently. Delete any records that are already there, and begin inputting the handful of MX servers listed in your control panel instructions. We have you put in multiple fallback mail servers to make sure there's no downtime in the rare event the main server, aspmx.l.google.com, is experiencing technical difficulties. Just be sure to list the priorities in the correct order, with aspmx.l.google.com in the highest priority slot. Here we are back in our DNS zone file editor, and we can see the completed lists of MX servers. We now want to click Save Zone File so that those records save to our DNS. Once you've finished inserting the Google MX records into your DNS, come back to your Google Apps control panel and click I have completed these steps. Google will start looking to see if your MX records have changed, which usually happens within a few hours but can take up to 48 hours. Once the change has occurred, you'll have email up and running for your Google Apps accounts. Before changing your MX records, however, you'll want to ensure a smooth transition by reviewing some of our suggested best practices. First, you'll want to create all users and email addresses you currently use in Google Apps before making the switch. This ensures that messages won't bounce once you've switched your MX records. You should also prepare your users for the switch by informing them of the coming change, providing them with training materials from our end user help centers, and letting them know to log into their new accounts with their username and password from any google.com website. We suggest changing your MX records on a Friday afternoon, or during some other period of light email traffic. Finally, be aware that your MX records may take up to 48 hours to change, so don't worry if your email delivery doesn't immediately switch. If you're not ready to fully switch your email service over to Google Apps, you can also set up a pilot group using dual delivery. This configuration consists of setting up forwarding rules on your existing email system to deliver email to a test alias in your Google Apps account. Configuring dual delivery before changing your MX records is not mandatory, and if you're interested in setting it up, please visit your setup wizard for more details. Now that email delivery is configured, we'll discuss your options for accessing your emails. We recommend accessing your email through Gmail in the web browser. It's fast, convenient, and unlike other mail clients, there's no additional configuration required to start using Gmail. We're also constantly rolling out new features to the web interface, so if you want the latest and greatest tools, you should help your users to get set up on Gmail. Let's take a look at a few of the key features Gmail offers. You can search to find any message or chat conversation quickly and easily. Gmail has close integrations with other Google Apps services, like Docs and Calendar, right in your inbox. You can communicate quickly and efficiently with your coworkers using chat. Keep on top of your to-do list by using tasks. And manage and group your email automatically using labels and filters. Although we recommend using Gmail in the browser for the best email experience, we fully support a variety of other email clients. If your employees would prefer to use Microsoft Outlook on Windows PCs, we suggest running our Google Apps Sync for Microsoft Outlook tool on each computer you'd like to sync. Google Apps Sync will synchronize email, calendar, and contacts in a two-way push system. Your data is constantly kept up to date between the server and your Outlook profile. The tool runs in the system tray and maintains the sync behind the scenes. Simply download it, install it, and provide the username and password of the Google Apps user you'd like to sync with. If you're using a client other than Outlook on Windows PCs, you can take advantage of IMAP or POP to sync your email. We support Apple Mail, Entourage, Thunderbird, and a host of other clients. Check the Setup Wizard in your control panel for specific configuration instructions for Google Apps Sync for Microsoft Outlook and other desktop email clients. Google Apps for Business users also have access to full-featured syncing with a variety of mobile devices, so let's take a look at how to configure some of the most popular phones. Android devices are easy to sync with Google Apps. Navigate to the Settings menu, touch Accounts and Sync, and add a new account by typing in your Google Apps username and password. Your Google Apps for Business account should be added to your iPhone as a Microsoft Exchange account. There is a Gmail option available, but this syncing protocol is designed for consumer Gmail accounts. For full functionality and speed, choose the Microsoft Exchange option. It will prompt you for some additional server information. You can find this and other information about using iPhone with Google Apps at m.google.com. BlackBerries need to be configured a little differently. We recommend downloading our Gmail app to access your Google Apps mail and downloading our Google Sync app for calendar and contacts. To download these tools, visit m.google.com from your BlackBerry device's web browser. If you have more questions that haven't been answered by this presentation, don't worry. We have lots of further resources to help you get your business up and running on Google Apps. Again, your first stop for any setup-related questions should be the Setup Wizard in your control panel. The wizard will cover all the steps you should take to get set up on Google Apps, so you can work through it at your own pace and you can be confident you haven't missed anything. You can also click on the Support tab in your control panel. Here, you'll find easy-to-use help centers for administrators as well as end users. Most customers find that a quick trip to the help center turns up the answer to most questions. If you need a little bit more help with a specific question, you can also get in touch with our technical and billing support team. They're available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and you'll find instructions on how to email or call in from the Support tab. You can also attend one of our weekly live webinars for additional help with the setup process. You'll find them at the URL listed here. If you want to save time and make sure your rollout goes as smoothly as possible, the easiest way to get up and running on Google Apps is to have one of our small business implementation partners handle things for you. You'll find listings and reviews for a wide variety of partners in the Google Apps Marketplace. This final section covers the optional step of migrating your old data into Google Apps. We have a variety of tools to help move email, calendar, and contact data into Google Apps, but your business may not need to go through the extra work to get that data over. We'll touch on some of the key strategies and tools available, but you should refer to your Setup Wizard to choose the best data migration plan for you. There are two general migration strategies. The first is to have an administrator move users' data for them. The second is to allow users to migrate their own data at their own pace. Let's discuss the admin managed options first. Our core tool for performing this type of data migration is Google Apps Migration for Microsoft Exchange. This tool is the best choice if you're migrating from a Microsoft Exchange 2003, 2007, or 2010 server. It'll allow you to easily migrate users' email, calendar, and contact data in batches. Simply create a list of users you wish to migrate, select the type of data you'd like to move, and let the tool run. Gammy moves approximately 1 message per second, so expect it to take some time to move your larger mailboxes. Google Apps Migration for Microsoft Exchange can also be used to move from hosted Exchange solutions, but you need an administrator account with full read access over other mailboxes. Check with your existing hosting provider if you're unsure of your permissions settings. The Google Apps Migration for Microsoft Exchange tool has a second mode that allows you to migrate email data, including folder structures, from any IMAP-enabled mail server over to your new Google Apps accounts. Examples of compatible systems include Yahoo's Small Business Email Service, Zimbra, other Google Apps accounts, and GoDaddy Webmail. In this mode, GAMI is not able to migrate calendar and contact data, but we'll go over some alternative methods in a moment. Please note that you'll need the password of each user on your old mail server in order to authenticate the transfer, so be sure to reset or gather those ahead of time. If your technical circumstances don't allow for using the Exchange migration tool in either of its modes, or if you'd like to move data for just some of your users, you'll want to take a look at some of our individual client-side migration options. I'll describe each briefly, and please take a look at the Migrate Data section in your setup wizard for more details. The first thing you'll want to do is enable the Email Migration API from within your Google Apps control panel. This is required for any client-side migrations. If some of your users need to migrate data into Google Apps and want to keep using Microsoft Outlook on their Windows PCs, the Google Apps Sync for Microsoft Outlook tool is a great choice. The tool can migrate email, calendar, and contact data from an existing Outlook profile. Simply choose the option to import data when you're first configuring the tool. If your users are currently on Outlook for Windows PCs but want to switch entirely into the Gmail interface, our Google Apps Migration for Microsoft Outlook tool is a better choice. Install this tool and upload email, calendar, and contact data from an Outlook profile to a Google Apps user. If you're using a Macintosh OS X machine, you can use our Google Email Uploader for Mac utility to upload email from Thunderbird, Apple Mail, or Eudora. If your emails are stored primarily on a webmail server that isn't IMAP enabled, you can use our Pop Mail Fetcher to pull those emails over to Google Apps. This isn't our most suggested migration tool, but it can pull messages from the inbox of your old mail account into the new Google Apps inbox. Folder structure and read/unread status of the messages are not maintained when using Mail Fetcher. Finally, it's easy to manually export and import calendar and contact data from your existing system. Google Calendar and the Google Contact Manager allow you to import a wide variety of file types, including CSV and iCal, so feel free to take a look at your existing system to see what file types are available for export. Again, you'll want to take a look at the Data Migration section of your Setup Wizard for more information on any of these tools and techniques. And that's all it takes to set up your small business on Google Apps. If you haven't yet registered for your free 30-day trial, please visit google.com/a to get started. If you have, log into your control panel and check your Setup Wizard to see your next steps. Thank you for watching and welcome to Google Apps.